Hello, guys. This is our taxes module, something that a lot of people brought up about, not knowing how to pay their taxes. So today we're going to go over it. So some of the basic essential questions: how do I complete a W-4? When I take a job, what's a W-2? What does it mean? And how do I actually file my taxes? Now, before we do any of that, we need to talk about the tax basics. Okay, it is extremely complex, but when you actually get down to just an individual citizen level, it gets a little bit easier. And it's really not that complex the younger you are. And then as you progress through life, buy a house, have children, own a business, it gets more and more complex. The basics of it: most Americans pay withholding taxes, meaning our companies actually take the tax dollars out of our paychecks. They do this for federal and state income tax, for Social Security, and for Medicare. Now, for income tax, so the tax on your income, the government has a variety of tax breaks and tax deductions, which means that often your company has withheld the wrong amount of taxes from you. So you then have to file a tax return to prove how much money you made, to prove what you should pay in taxes, and then ultimately either get a refund from the government or actually pay the government for what you missed. Okay, so this is what it all starts with. It all starts with getting a job. Okay, so when you take a new job, they will ask you to pay for or fill out a W-4. A W-4 is a form used to authorize your employer to withhold taxes from your paycheck. The form requires that you claim a number of allowances. Each allowance you claim means a smaller amount of taxes is taken out of your paycheck. Okay? Now, any dependents you have can be claimed as an allowance. A dependent's usually a child or someone that relies on your income. You are also allowed to claim yourself as an allowance, but you do not have to. Okay? Now, here's what happens with this. Oftentimes, so I should put on there, right? The more allowances you claim means you usually get less of a tax refund at the end because less money is getting taken out. So then oftentimes you don't get as big of a refund back. Either way, it works out the same. Some people just like getting that nice big refund check from the government. Here's what the form W-4 looks like. I'm going to pause it for 1 sec. Okay, so here's W-4. Mr. Cole actually lied. They've actually changed this since last time I've looked at it. So basically, all you got to do is fill out your personal information, single, and filing separately. You only do steps 2 through 4 if it works, if it counts for you. So multiple jobs your spouse works, that's not us yet. Probably most of us don't have dependents. If you do, you would follow the rules on here. We wouldn't really have any of these extra adjustments, unless that applies to you, and then you just sign your name. So they've actually taken out the allowances. So I was actually wrong there. So the W-4 has been made a lot easier. But basically, what the W-4 does is essentially says, I'm authorizing, based on the number of dependents I have, for my company to withhold my taxes for me. Now, the actual tax paying process all starts in January when your company sends you a W-2. The W-2 is a form sent by your company at the start of each year, and it shows how much money you made the previous year and how much money was taken out in taxes. It is proof of your income and proof of how much taxes you paid. And when you file with the IRS, you have to include it. So when I look here, here's an example of a W. Oh, I actually have it on my thing. Here's an example of a W-2. Okay, so they would show you how much you made in wages, $48,500, and they show you how much income tax you paid. You paid $6,835 in income taxes, you paid $3,100 in Social Security, $725 in Medicare, and you see some of the other stuff on there. But really, our focus is up here at this number: the fact that you paid $6,835 in taxes for $48,500 in wages. They'll send you that. Once they send you that, you can begin ready to file taxes. So how do you file your taxes? Unfortunately, there's a ton of different scenarios, so I'm only going to go over the most basic scenario with you. And that's what's called the Form 1040. It's what almost most Americans file with. Here's the basic process. Number one, you got to fill out your personal information, and you have to report your income. So we would be reporting our income as $48,500. From there, we have to claim our deduction. Okay, the government allows us to deduct money from our income that is not taxable money. Okay? The money that we deduct, we are saying the government is not allowed taxing this money. The government says you can either do a standard deduction or an itemized deduction. The standard deduction is $12,200, and the itemized depends on how many items you are eligible for. So it could be more or less than that. Here's basically what that's saying. You are saying that you cannot tax $12,200 of my income is untaxable. The rest of it is taxable. From there, you're going to take and you're going to now have a new taxable income. You will use that taxable income to find how much money you were supposed to pay in taxes, and then you compare that to what you actually paid and you get a refund. Now, here's the really cool thing, guys. If you go on H&R Block, you can do this for free. TurboTax, you can do this for free as long as you don't have certain things. For you guys at your age, you can jump on those and get it in free. I still get to do mine for free. It's super easy. You don't need to do it by hand, but I will really quickly show you. So when we're looking at our W-2, here's our Form 1040. This is all personal information you have to file out. You got to work with this stuff right here and this stuff. I'll only show you the boxes that would apply for the simplest of scenarios. So number one, wages, salaries, and tips. Okay, so when I go and I look, I see my wages. I don't know where I put that. My wages is $48,500. So you type in $48,500. All right, 2A, 3A, 4A. Those are all different types of income. Okay, right now I'm going to assume that we don't have it. This would all be things that we talked about in class: Social Security, IRAs. Okay, other types of income, we don't have those, so we add all those up to $48,500. Okay. And it looks like I wrote it. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So from there, we look and we decide to claim our standard deduction or itemized deduction. I think I'm supposed to put it in there again. Oops. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the standard deduction. The itemized is a lot trickier. So the standard deduction is $12,200. Right? We're saying we're going to take $12,200 off of our income. Okay. From there, we add that up, right? 12,000. I'm just following directions here. Okay, now it says taxable income. Subtract line 11A from line 8B. So our income was $48,500. Our deduction is $12,200, which means we have our taxable income is $36,300. Okay, that's how much money is allowed to be taxed. This other $12,000 is not allowed to be taxed. Only the $36,300 is. From here, you got to find out what you were supposed to have paid. Now, again, the H&R Block and all this does this for you, okay? But you would have to go into what's called the IRS tax tables, okay? And you find that income. So our income was $36,600. So I find $36,000, and I got to find $600. We're right there. So we would be paying, as a single person, $4,201. So I just take this single line right here, $4,201. I take that and I type it in right here, $4,201. Okay, and that's how much tax I was supposed to pay. All right, now there's all sorts of other taxes and stuff. Again, that there's a lot of different scenarios that for now we're not going to work. Okay, so we're supposed to pay $4,201. Now, the final step is figuring out what you actually paid. So you come up here, you say federal income tax withheld from Form W-2. So I come up here and I look at my W-2 again, and I see that I actually paid $6,835. Okay, so I type in that number, $6,835. Again, all these other things right here are things that might apply to you later on in life, but right now probably don't really apply to most of you. Okay, again, that's where using TurboTax or H&R Block, they would tell you if it applies to you. All right, which again, we don't have to do. And so we're going to write 6,835 again. So from here, we're going to look. We were supposed to have paid 4,201, but we actually paid 6,835, meaning we overpaid. So we're going to get a tax refund. Okay, it says if line 19 is bigger than line 16, subtract line 16 from line 19. So I look, 19, 6,835, 16 is 4,201. we overpaid, so you just got to subtract the numbers. So I'm doing a little mental math here. That would be 2,574. Let me pause this and make sure I did that. Mr. Pro did not do that math right. It ends up being 2,634. That is our tax refund. From there, you just type in your bank account information and you sign your name and you get a tax refund. Now, if those numbers were flip-flopped, if we actually owed money, you'd write the amount there and you'd write a check as you send in this into the IRS. Now, like I said, guys, I did the most easy scenario in terms of not having kids, not having a lot of different situations. We're not claiming, low income here. This is pretty simple. My advice: get on H&R Block, set up an account. It's free for that. If you really, really, really desperately want to, I think you kind of overspend your money by going and getting a person to do it. Until you actually have a house and kids, I don't think you need a person to do it. Just go on their website. It's really easy to figure out, and they'll do this all for you. Okay? But that was a really quick rundown on kind of what you're doing when you're paying taxes. And then that way, when you're typing it into something, you kind of know, okay, hey, I'm probably not doing this right. But you don't have to fill it out like I did. You can go on a website and do it. I think that's perfectly fine. But that is how you file your taxes. All right. See you guys.